Howdy, y'all. Welcome back. Glad you're here, and welcome to all the new peeps that are checking this out. I hope you enjoy your stay. So today I wanted to go over characters and how I'm gonna go about putting them in my pitch Bible. I've done a couple videos now where I've studied pitch Bibles. I went over like their layouts and stuff and what they're all kind of doing in each one. I also have a video about how I'm writing my log line for my pitch Bible, so that's also a thing. And now we're gonna do the characters. So, like always, it's good to get some references going, and if y'all want some good references, again, go check out that video where I studied the pitch Bibles. I have everything in there with the links in the description and everything. And so I've already done my research, and what it came down to was that I really enjoyed Dana Terrace's layout for her pitch Bible for Snaggle Teeth. And so I'm gonna take a closer look at what's going on there. And as always, I'm no professional. I'm just doing what I know and bringing y'all along for the ride. I could be doing this completely wrong. Who knows? I don't. Well, I kind of do because I got like a degree in animation, but that doesn't really mean much. So anyways, okay. This is Dana Terrace's pitch Bible for Snaggle Teeth. And one thing I really enjoy from a graphic design perspective is that I just like that the characters on the pages, like the start of the character pages is labeled on top in red with core characters, and I don't know, I just kind of like that. Like when pages and sections are labeled. I don't know why, but I think in other pitch Bibles they were just kind of thrown around. But I just like having specific sections for where pages reside. I know it's weird, but I work as a graphic designer, and I've done graphic design for a long time in college, and it's really doing it for me. Anyways, the second thing I like about this layout is the main character is in color, and it's not super rendered with highlights and shadows, but it's still very well rendered regardless. And what I also enjoy is that there's another scene depicted of the character in a situation, and it's in black and white. It's just like this sample of what we can expect from the character, like what situations they'll be put in. Very cool. And so as for the meat and potatoes, let's take a look at what this character's about. Also, I'm not going to read all this, so y'all can pause and read this for yourself, but I read this beforehand, and this is what I'm noticing once I go through the text. First off, the way this is written is very interesting. It's not like the average character sheet where it lists things about the character and describes this and that. It does, but the way it's written is in a way where it's asking and addressing the questions to the reader directly. It's also very witty, and it has the vibe of being banter with a friend or something. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's not very this is Shark Boy. Shark Boy is shy. He is afraid to take risk. He is the opposite of what people think a shark is. It's no. It's more like, hey, let me tell you everything you need to know about my boy Shark Boy. And let me tell you, he's kind of not the best, or, you know what I mean? It's very laid back. It has that kind of inflection. You know what I mean? It's very, I can hear her writing more so than read it. Again, I don't know if that explains it too well, but that's how it makes sense to me. And so we get a little bit of who he is in the first statement about him, and then the next paragraph, it's just another short summarized backstory, which in short, it's basically homeschooled kid, goes to high school, he has no social skills. Next paragraph broken down is basically saying Shark Boy, despite no social skills, still makes a friend, but doesn't know that that friend is using him. He's just happy to have a friend. And the third paragraph is kind of just saying well, honestly, I don't even have to bring it down. That one's just self-explanatory. And one thing I like about that is the layout as well is just there's also this extra section here at the bottom, and it's just really fun info that you want to include. Even if it's not super important, it just makes the character feel real, as if they have their own wants and interests outside of the story, or outside of the paper, really, outside of their existence, and feels like they have hobbies and things that they do on the regular day-to-day basis. I don't know, it's cool. I like the extra section. And so now I'm going to take a look at my character page and what I'm going to focus on, in my writing. and I'm trying to think of like what the short backstory of my character would be, why he or she is the way that they are, and most importantly, how they feel. I think those are the three main things that were touched on in this little character page about Shark Boy. And of course, this isn't the only way. I may or may not be right about all this stuff, so I encourage y'all to check out other pitch Bibles and see how other people are constructing and laying out and writing their characters. But I think I'm just gonna kind of follow. This kind of narrows it down for me, you know what I mean? Instead of trying to think like, oh, what should I put? Like, what should I write down about this character? Should I give them their whole backstory where, it starts from when they were 5 all the way up till they're 31? It's like, no, like, just get, 4 sentences about the backstory. In the next one, just kind of explain what's going on with them, how they feel about things. Boom, done. Just to start. We can always add to it later. That's the beauty of these things. You can add to it later. Anyways. Moving on, I also noticed that Jesse Porter, and kind of like most of the other characters, but, Jesse Porter, the secondary character, his sheet is also very similar, so I'm kind of gonna, skip past that. Y'all feel free to read it, but it's pretty much the same thing. But after this page is something really important that I think I like the most about this, and it's kind of cool that it's also included in like the core characters pages, which is their relationship page. This, I think, is very important because not only does it give like more examples of how our characters act, but it shows and like describes ideas that are important to the story. So like, let me break it down. So the top half of the page is basically describing the relationship of Shark Boy and Jesse. Shark Boy wants companionship and he finds it in Jesse, but eventually gets hurt when he finds out why. The bottom half kind of explains how Jesse has an ulterior motive for being Shark Boy's friend, but then ultimately learns through Shark Boy that he really enjoys his companionship as well, and maybe being popular isn't all that glorious as he thinks it is. And it mentions the main conflict in their friendship, which I think is really important because it's good to have your characters interacting and all, but like what's the point? There's got to be some sort of value and growth to make it more interesting. And so it's nice that it's included here. And these details, I'm so glad that this page is here because it's really important to mention all of these things because we're going to spend like a majority of our time with these characters. So again, it's just, more development to look forward to. In regards to layout, I actually really do like it. I like that it has these scenarios of them, like again, and like the other pages and just like quick little doodles of them interacting. It's kind of funny to see like I can already kind of tell, like, sure, by reading what I've read, right? But like I can see, Jesse's motioning towards like, you need to be big scary shark, pointing at the tree, and Shark Boy's like, oh yeah, he has that cute look on his face. He looks, that's a fantastic character design. But anyways, really like the layout. I think I might do something like this, maybe something a little similar. I don't want to copy it exactly. I think it is kind of weird that the, paragraphs are broken up a little bit, but it's nothing big. It's nothing big. So let's reel it back to my story. And for my story, it's going to revolve around these 3 characters and how each of them are going to learn from, their good and bad characteristics that they all have. And for starters, I'm working on my character Ace. In short, he's a pretty big nerd and he hides it from the world. All he cares about is being cool and popular, ignoring parts of who he really is. He's really inspired by the style of the Greasers and all the guys from like the 80s and stuff. And oof, yikes, talk about old, huh? But that's what he likes. And at the same time, he really doesn't have clothes like that and stuff like that. And he mostly has like a bunch of like nerdy graphic tees that he turns inside out just so he doesn't seem like a geek. And even though he may think he's popular or well-liked, he doesn't really have anyone that he could call a friend. He's mostly alone, and as the story progresses, we'll see if he can overcome that. A lot of his interactions, in my head at least, do often begin with him hiding parts of who he really is in like a very blatantly obvious way. And like there's examples of that, which, is what I'm drawing here. It's Ace, going through cards in his locker because he's like a huge TCG player. I wonder who that's based on. And another classmate of his, Cassidy, who I'll talk about, once we start getting into more side characters and stuff. She's a little interested in seeing what he's up to. He's nervously, like I said, hiding a deck box filled with a bunch of playing cards for his game. And he used to like playing this game when he was younger, and he still kind of has a passion for it, but he doesn't want her to know that he's really into that. And he's trying to play it cool, but, he's obviously working up a sweat. Ace is kind of like literally the definition of like fake it till you make it, and he might not be too far off from someone else I know. But yeah, that's kind of what he's all about. And that wasn't my character description, by the way. That was kind of just like a, low-key one. I'm going to write something completely different. Not completely different, but, all of that, but condensed into like one page. Yeah. But anyways, this is him. And yeah, I actually really like drawing this character, although I think I need to practice drawing him a little more. I think he's like one of the least, like I draw him the least. I didn't know how to word that. But I actually do like drawing this. I think it's a lot of fun to really like finally get into like, I don't know, the drawings that I really want to like see animated and like, I don't know. This is the fun part for me, the drawing part. The writing, I love the writing. I love the story. But, it's funny. It's because like none of you know the story, but I do. So it's like I'm, just kind of like self-fulfilling all of my happiness needs. Well, anyways, I like the drawing part of this. The artsy part of putting the pitch Bible together is really fun. And yeah, and while I do like this drawing, I have no idea how easy this is going to be to animate. The style I'm going for is kind of like, I want it to be like kind of real, but at the same time like a little cartoonish. And I don't know, maybe that's something I need to establish like more thoroughly as well. I have like mood boards about the style and the art, but I think giving it like a second review would be really good to go through because, well, okay, I'll talk about it a little bit, but I want my characters to look like fairly human and proportional and not like super wacky, like kind of like Steven Universe, but mixed with the Owl House, but kind of mixed with Craig of the Creek. I know that's like a loaded statement, but yeah, that's kind of like what I'm going for. Or like Scott Pilgrim, the new Scott, what's it called? Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, I believe it's called. Something like a little bit similar to that too. Kind of like that. Like I want the anatomy of the characters to look human enough, but not so human that they're like, that they're very anatomical. Like I don't want them to look like Young Justice or Teen Titans or like The Legend of Vox Machina. Nothing like that. But I also don't want them to be like super cartoony, like, I don't know, like Kids Next Door or Adventure Time. There's nothing wrong with any of those styles that I just mentioned. It's just not what I'm going for. And yeah, I don't know how to describe all that, but hey, look, now I have an idea for another video, solidifying the style, because I need to figure out how I'm trying to draw them. I only know how to draw how I'm drawing them. So actually, and you know what? Here's a good example. Here's a good example of how, I guess the style, I don't really know, but this is how I want them to look. This drawing, I want my show to look like this drawing. I don't know what that means, but yes, I wanted to look like this. This is just one of my favorite drawings I drew of my characters, and I don't know, I feel like it matches perfectly. But yeah, so after taking a closer look at these character pages, once I finish up this drawing, I'll probably start writing and formatting my page, and I'm also going to look at some other pitch Bibles and see and tweak, what I can, seeing if I could add anything or subtract anything. But yeah, I imagine it shouldn't be too different from what I've already seen. So yeah, thanks for stopping by. Like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and yeah, y'all take care. As always, see you later, homies.